Good afternoon and welcome. We're going to try to finish off as much as we can of stage 6 today. See what we can do. Unfortunately, this group is going faster than I would like. So I'm going to ease a little bit. I don't want to go too hard too soon. Jumped in on another. Yeah. They're going a little bit faster than I would like. Use a little bit to warm in. Hopefully I'll be joined by people. Oh, have they eased now? That's unfortunate. Trying to start prepping for the time trial season. It's the goal. How are you doing now? It's gonna get real bad in March and April. Gonna be a lot of saddle time. Cool, draft. With nobody behind me. Useful. Hey, Dad. Prepping for the time trial season. Time trialing is April and May. So I've got the bike prepped. Now I've got to get the engine prepped. The thing that means I shouldn't crash. If all goes well. At least that's the hope. Chances are I'm going to start a training regimen soon, which is going to be rough. This is New York. This isn't Central Park, I don't think. No. This is the other major park across the bridge. I cannot remember the name of it. Oh, the time trial? The main one will be around the dam in that area. Same one as I did last year. I think there's 7 days over 7 weeks. And then I'm going to see how I'm feeling and try for state champs, which you guys are always welcome. So I'm going to train into the time trial series that hopefully will help me train into state champs. Not that I think I'm going to win anything. There's way too many strong people around here. Yeah. Unfortunately, this is a very poorly attended Tour de Zwift, which is sad. Usually the Tour de Zwift is pretty busy. Not this time. Thankfully, it's the last week. So. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Yeah, if you guys ever want to come out for one of them, let me know. Oddly enough, it's on a Wednesday evening, so it's not an ideal time. State champs is on a weekend. Can do. It's a pretty chill one, too, because it's right after work, and it's not far away. So, and time trials are always good. People are kind there. Everybody kind of has camaraderie. Alright, we got a big group coming up. And they're going to catch me on a flat, which is good. I'm going to ease slightly. Meters. That's one. Fine. I want the group, not the individual. It'll be great if I can get draft. Ease into a little bit more pace. There we go. That's fair. Shove me out. You guys are in the group. I'm just an intruder. Alright. Ah, Lasky's behind me. I don't want to get rid of my feather. That's too powerful in this course. I don't know what this person is doing out in front of us, just dangling. Ideally, if I can hop for after this group for a while, that'd be good. Because now we're on a mostly flat downhill. So I should get a couple K out of them. I don't want to drain the tank, so there's a chance I might race after this. Unsure. I love when people have to announce their age in this. It's like, that wasn't part of the question. That has nothing to do with anything. Also, a lot of the Zwift population is older. You're not the unique one here. If you're young, you're actually the unique one. Under 30 is rare on Zwift. I don't know why. Just is. Have a good night. Love you. Enjoy dinner. Whew. I'm gonna try to be responsible with my legs, which never goes well. Yay, downhill. I'm faster than everybody. Thanks, Zwift, for telling me I'm the heaviest out of this group. Appreciate it. It's always the bad thing when you go fastest on the downhill. Means you're the heaviest rider. Try to sit in a little bit. Not really get out there at all. Let them do this. 2 main bumps. I think one at the bridge is 1 Times Square, or is that the bridge? No, I don't know. It might be Bridges twice. I honestly can't remember. There we go. Nice nestled in. Finish this, then there'll be time for Zwift games next week. So, back to a little bit of racing. I'll get about 3 weeks of racing in before I get into training. This is going to be a hard one, trying to stay with this group up these kickers. Oh, Spoon. Is that a Valentine's Day wish? I don't know what's happening. Oh, that was... People did not go super hard into that. I'm okay with that. Oh, thank God. Are we done with New York yet? I hate New York. Not like the actual place. The Zwift location. Sorry, DJ. So yeah, we're gonna do both bridges. We're gonna loop basically. Too hard. But I want the draft. Oh, that was a weird hitch. Come on. I could stay with them, but I'm trying not to push. Oh, no. I don't want to push that hard. They're going mid 3 to 4. So. More than what I want to do at the moment. I'm gonna be good. Much I hate it. Gonna go back over the other side, and then back to the main. It's basically over the bridges 4 times. Group's gonna catch me and probably drop me on the next one too. But it is what it is. Oh, we don't. Oh no, I thought we'd cross the banner. I'm not paying attention. Alright. Feather? Please. Thank you. Try to ease and recover. Got a Canadian group just trailing me down. That's all. Thank you for the raid. Welcome. How'd your stream go? Welcome in. I'm being responsible, which is always problematic. This group is going to catch me, though. You feel good now. Why? What did you do? Carrying good momentum. Oh my god. That tracks. I'm not surprised this group is going to bypass me. I'm debating if I'm going to race after this. We'll see. Timing is going to be close. Every group is caught me on the hill. Governors sucks though. Like, that double climb is so brutal. Alright. Last main climb. Unfortunately, I had to use my power up trying to keep with that group, but they were doing too much. This climb is miserable. It drags. Try to stay within bounds. After this, it's pretty straightforward. Now they're all pushing. Ugh. It's a bit more of a warm-in than I anticipated. I have a hair right here. It's bugging me. Alright. Now I'm gonna use the bit. Gotta go closing on me. We'll see what they are doing when they catch me. Ah. That's all the main climb's done. Raft might be good. One person out front that I'm not going to worry about. This I will try to hold on to. Downhill is easier. Alright. Group acquired until the last bump. Should let me recover a little bit. There we go. Sit in, do nothing. I had planned on riding yesterday, but unfortunately, my job decided that they had better things for me. So. I do love finding a group for this. Because, man, it was lonely doing it solo. I would do it, but better have a group around you. Draft is so nice. It's going to be interesting next week with Zwift games because steering is disabled. So that's going to be weird. Trying to remember that I can't steer. But you want to keep your controllers used or attached because it's your power-up control. So how many people are not going to realize that you only get one power-up though? Except for the last stage. I feel like that's going to be a very common problem. Ah. 2K left. Perfect timing. Spot on right now. This is going to go up the escalators into another hill. If I remember right. Kind of sucks. That's why it looks so tall. Yeah. Like 300 meters of a bump. I'm not gonna push. I had a feeling everybody's gonna push off that, so it is what it is. We're close enough to finish. Start easing. About 10 minutes until the race if I decide to do it. That thing of it's like I might as well because I have to do the route anyways. So I'll get it done. So I'm leaning towards I'm going to just because I have to eventually. Even if I get dropped, which I'm probably going to looking at the power profiles who I'm up against. There's some ridiculous people in that because I have to be in higher category level. think there's somebody that has a full watt per kilo over me, which is like, ugh. Just tell me I'm doomed. Stage 6 done. That's Tour de Zwift tentatively complete, not the ultimate.
Rock the party non-stop like this, gonna rock the party non-stop like this, gonna rock the party non-stop like this, yeah, we rock the party non-stop like this, rock the party non-stop like this, gonna rock the party non-stop like this, gonna rock the party non-stop.
Yay, one of the ugliest kits.
Come on and just rock.
Almost time. Spin a little bit. Let's go ahead and pop it. Enough warm down before warming in. This one is going to go hard. Very fast. Everything's paired, you're fine. Garage, bike. Get back on my fully leveled bike. See if you are capturing the correct thing. Richmond roller coaster. You are. Let me go ahead and restart you though, because I don't know if you. Oh, there you go. You found it. That last part. Alright. Okay, it's catching up. Kyo! Perfect timing. Well, actually, perfect timing for all of you. Terrible timing for me, because I'm about to race. So, hey, Frank, how's it going? So yeah, we've got 6 minutes until racing, which you can't see because of the kappa. So blame Kyo. So welcome everybody. For those who don't know, I'm generally lost as Frackbird. I call you Frack. I don't know why I just tried to call you Frackbird. Frack said, I'm the lead of K4K. It's not for a while though, so you don't have to worry about me tormenting you all for that for now. I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and then it's race time, which I'm gonna die. So enjoy the pause before the death, I guess. I don't know. I'll be right back. Hey, Peter, how's it going? It's the last break before the storm. Speaking of, let me get my actual good playlist going. As a reminder, if you ever want to hear what I'm listening to, not like directly as it's happening, it's on my YouTube, whether that's good or not. I didn't realize it was for the longest time. There's a playlist called Stream Hardcore, which is what I'm listening to. There's a lot of people here. There's almost more people here than there are on the regular rides. That's weird. So how do I know I'm gonna die? Because I am out of my league in my category. Sorry, actually, I can't even say this is my category. It technically is, but I disagree. This may be the category has me, but I don't agree. There are people in here that have at least 1 watt kilo, which is problematic, to say the least. The only reason I am continuing to do this is I need to do it anyways for the rep. Not for our badge, but for the Tour de Zwift Ultimate. So this is gonna suck. Just fair warning. If you're not familiar with this course, it's a bear. There you go. Why? Oh, there we go. It's like, why are you? It's gonna be bad. Reverse 23rd into the reverse Libby, and then eventually into the alternate governor's line, which is... I don't want to say I'm more confident on the 2 reverse times first, but I almost feel like I am, but I'm gonna eat those words. I know that much. It's not gonna end well. How bad could it be? It's only 17 kilometers. At least I finally get to see my festive 500 jersey. That's okay. I've been in the Tour de Zwift for so long, and I haven't got to see it since January. Alright. 1 minute. I forgot I haven't changed the duplicated thing. Oh, so we have anvils as possible power-ups. That's interesting. That is going to make a big difference on the 2 reverse downhills. That's interesting. Alright. Stage 6C? Yeah. Richmond roller coaster. Hell awaits. This is just, like, once you get past governors, and it's just basically straightforward. But you have to get there first. Alright. 5 seconds. The first downhill is actually critical, because you can get dropped. At the back a little bit. I rolled through too fast. Oh, I'm screwed. Mm. Graph, not an anvil. Screwed me. Not getting an anvil there is a death now. There you have 25 seconds. Yeah. "30 seconds. Oh my god. That's it. Legitimately. If you don't get an anvil at your distance at all, you're screwed. I hate that. Would I have gotten back on with an anvil? 50-50. Another draft. Come on. What a joke. And I have 2 anvils in front of me. Nope. And I have nobody behind me, basically. Well, that was fun. When I saw the average was like over 5 watts a kilo the first time, I'm like, nope. Now it's just get to the finish. Why is the person behind me doing 4 watts a kilo? With 4 watts a kilo, you should have been able to stay. Yeah, the people in front of me that had anvils, gone. If you don't have an anvil in those first 2, you're screwed. That's it. That sucks. It's about the same as doing something on the Sigor with an anvil. Or steamroller. It's just game breaking. Got a group coming up behind us. I'm not going to do anything until they catch. I'll take drop. So the issue is, depending on what they do on the climb, it could be bad. That was rough, though. That was not great. Why are you pushing it 4-5? Alright, you go. I'm not trying to get away from this group of 5 behind us. Trying to recover a little bit before this kicker. I guess Governors is more than kicker. It's kind of a proper climb. Especially for us. I'll be honest, at this point, positioning doesn't matter a ton to me. Because it's obvious that I don't belong in this group. I'd be happy going back down. It'd be great. I had a feeling when I saw the power levels. I knew I didn't stand much of a chance with how steep and front-loaded it is. Alright, right and then the left. And then that's the last real climbing. It's very heavy front-loaded climbing. Which is what sucks. Because the group's gonna shatter. And you're stuck soloing in. Sorry, I'm negative today, chat. Because I knew this was gonna be rough. So why am I doing it? Don't know. I have to stay with this group. I'm hurting. Yeah, at this point, an anvil is useless. So people using them? I guess. Literally whenever there's downhill of any sort. Watch, now I'll get an anvil. Nope, okay. Interesting. Well, we're halfway done, but now it's just flat. All roll turns. John has this weird thing where he surges. I don't know what he's doing. I think this is the group though, like, I don't think anybody's catching us. I don't think we're catching anyone. I'm gonna assume that the ride before this didn't help. Probably did a little too much, but it is what it is. Group seems just content to stay together, which is whatever. You won't find me complaining. This is a sprint. Basically, we're going to do a fan flash reverse. Let's try the front group. The key is once you get here, it's fine. Maybe you can do anything. I don't really feel like chasing it. No, Julius. Anyway. Oh well. Nobody went with me. Hey, progress is progress. Sean, if you have that power, Why are you back here? What the hell? Oh, that's awesome. That's always helpful. Yeah, Sean doing off and on 4 and 1 is weird. Very, very fishy. I'm just gonna save for a sprint now. So I tried closing the gap, didn't work. I mean, at this point, it's not really much of anything anymore. I mean, the race is up the road and it's finished, basically. Yeah, Sean doing 5 watts a kilo again for some reason. Legs are not fresh, though, that's for sure. They are worse for wear. Combination of everything, they're toasty. I mean, our average is over 200 watts, so it's pretty high. Sean's still doing 4 watts a kilo. Like, what's happening? If you had 4 watts a kilo average, why are you dropping? And the swings are suspicious. Or it's like 4, 1, 4, 1. It doesn't seem like sticky watts because you usually have to go to 0 for sticky watts. Almost a K left. Let's see what people do. Oh, there somebody goes. It almost caught me. I did not know if I was going to close that down. The anvil almost screwed me again. Didn't exactly mean Feldman, that's fine. I meant Chainsy, but whatever. I mean, Veldman did make an early move too, but Chainsy, so it's perfect timing. I almost didn't go, but I'm like, if I don't go and nobody responds, that's it. I mean, as people say, we're basically fighting for the wooden spoon, but whatever. Oh. It's a little bit of practice. Oh. That was taxing. Oh. Oh. At least I redeemed something in the end. Because I got dropped hard in the beginning. Hit 16th in the sprint. Which is ironic because we were pushing for like 800 meters, so to still get 16th in the sprint is impressive. So I basically jumped to try to get away from people, settle into a pace where I kept them semi-close, and then when I got into my normal sprint window, just basically empty what I had left. Ugh. Ooh. I knew that one was going to be a bear. I knew that one was not going to be. But, especially with the people I was up against, there was some people with serious power there. Let's see. I'm going to attempt to dark it, okay. Yeah, look at the power profiles. Medium to high 3. It's the only person within remotely close to my power profile. And there were still 2 minutes and 45 seconds down, so. And that was average power for the whole event. My FDP is 2.8, 2.9 max. Like 2.8 something, so. And that was a 30-minute race. So, plus another 10 minutes on top of my 20 minutes. Granted, I mean, for like 10K, we were basically kind of just marking each other. Not really pushing. Oh. Ooh. Let's see. Let's take a look. Yeah. Yeah, that hurt. And of course, that's a 56 SP without it correctly recording my heart rate for the first, like, 7 minutes. Oh, I got a good spike in right here. At just over a minute. I actually started it. So, I'll take that. Yeah, 20 minute wasn't really much to write home about. 209. Granted, my FTP is like 220, 230, somewhere in there, so. No, I don't want that. I want that. Why would I want the thing that's not... that doesn't make me look good? Come on, Zwift. Alright. Let's see what... Is it gonna save? I hope it... Oh, my network... Oh, there we go. Internet's back. Oh, nope. Did saving the video tank my internet? That's interesting. Huh. That's weird. We're mostly back now. Oh, my racing score went down 4. 4. Really? Really? Bizarre. Bizarre. Oh, that's frustrating. How out of that did my racing score to go down 4? 4. I got nearly 40th out of 50. What? What about that says it? Oh, whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna head out. I had to go meet up with Penguin soon. I probably will actually be back tomorrow, because I need to do the last stage here, and I don't think I can do it on Thursday. So I need to finish the ultimate. I need to finish this. So there's a chance that I'll stream tomorrow as well, but we'll see. And then probably Saturday. So thank you everybody for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you probably tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day.